Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mild Fuzz TV Live, the regular Monday stream in which I show up and talk to all the wonderful people in chat about nonsense and pop culture and anything we cover typically and other things. Welcome on this fine March the 18th. Had to check. Oh, pardon me. Welcome everyone. Hey Renegade. Hey Theo. Hey Cindy. How is everyone on this reasonable Monday? I say reasonable. Cindy watched Captive State, which was Netflix quality. Oh, that's a shame. That is a shame. Hey Sunshine, welcome to the stream. Yes, welcome all. I had a very productive night with the ginger last night. We recorded for about 6 hours. Connor was getting gradually more drunk as the night went on. In fact, if you've watched the TV news, you'll see the end of that night. The other stuff, which is some Patreon exclusive content, you'll be seeing over the next couple of days. So you can look forward to that. Oh, pardon me. I just had food. I just had food. I think my body's still settling after having some dinner. I'm just realigning, settling down, getting comfortable for the evening. Not that I'm done after we stream. I've got stuff to record later. Many a thing to record later. It shall be all the content's coming. All of it. Oh dear. I may have to put on a little bit of put on a hoodie or something. It's actually a little bit chilly. Sadly, you got to see I'm a little bit sad about the movie news being reduced. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's one of those things where we, having done the show for over a year now, the movie news show, like almost the entire time, it was definitely less consistent than the TV news, and sometimes squeezing it in at the weekend was kind of tough and taking away from other things we could be doing. So we just made the choice to make it every other week instead of every week, just so that the news that we actually get every week or every episode will likely be fuller and more interesting. Kind of like how the games podcast is once a month. Hey Dan, welcome to the stream. Welcome all. For first 10-15 minutes is always people filtering in gradually. Oh, no worries, Renegade. No, it's not going anywhere. It's still happening. It's just slowing down a little bit. It's one of those things where just having done it for a while, where we've kind of learned, the not the supply, but the just how often it works and what works best, what's the best frequency for each show. There's nothing else we're reducing right now, but it's not impossible that other things might be like, oh, maybe this will be something that we shouldn't do every week at some point. Hey William, welcome to the stream. Reggie, you watched Overlord and Mortal Engines yesterday. Overlord I enjoyed quite a bit. I hope you enjoyed that. Mortal Engines I've not seen, but I didn't really want to. But I'm curious to hear what you think. I'm going to put on a hoodie, guys. I'm a little bit chilly, actually. I guess we're not quite hitting spring yet, are we? Hey Sheldon, welcome to the stream. You learned efficiency. Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's a way of putting it. Very good. I thought Overlord was alright. Didn't like the first half, but liked the second half. Okay. I guess you're kind of halfway between me and Tim. Although me and Matt loved it, so we'll stick up for that movie. That's fine. Oh dear. And Us is out this week. I'm looking forward to that. I am very much looking forward to Us. And Pet Cemetery is getting oddly good buzz. The early reviews are positive. I'm surprised by this, and I don't know how to anticipate it now, or anticipate it at all. I guess one could say. I'm fixing my hair. my hair's unwieldy. It's a whole thing. Dan, has anyone seen The Americans before? Started watching it the other week, just a way to switch off when home from work, and it has enough seasons to binge. I have become more invested than I expected. Isn't the kind of thing I would usually watch. I actually saw the first season. Um, of The Americans. Wait, did I finish the first season? I don't know if I finished the first. I saw most of the first season of The Americans, and it was pretty solid. And I can't remember why I stopped watching it, but it was, yeah, it was definitely high quality. Like, people, when it got to its final season, which I think was season 5 or 6, people were praising it a lot. It was getting a lot of good buzz. It's the sort of thing that I'll probably binge at some point. Cindy, I told you, Pete. What did you tell me? I have no idea what you're talking about. Hey Tara, welcome to the stream. But you're being giving me a "told you so" moment, and I'm not sure what you told me so about. I feel like I've given you a victory. Oh, about Pet Cemetery. Okay, okay, you're looking forward to Pet Cemetery. Okay, well, I don't like the original Pet Cemetery that much. So if the remake is it doesn't have to do that much to be better for me, because I think the original's kind of dull. So the positive buzz makes me think, oh, maybe it will be good. Maybe this is Jason Clarke making up for the Winchester movie last year. He's like, no, okay, you had to watch me in this shitty horror movie last year. This year, I'm going to be in one that's pretty good. Maybe that's what's happened. Is Jason Clarke's doing his best? Pardon. Sheldon, has anyone seen Love, Death and Robots, and how is it? I know Pete said you weren't going to be doing it. No, we considered it. We thought we were going to do it when we first heard about it, and we saw the trailer. And then when we looked into it and found out that the episodes range from 5 to 15 minutes long, we thought, that's a bit weird. Like, I don't think we can review 5-minute episodes. At least not the way we review stuff. So, but the trailer did look interesting. Yeah, correct that. The Twilight review. Yeah, Tara, when did you review the Twilight movies? Renegade, Mortal Engines isn't what I would call a good movie, but it's not bad. It's enjoyable. Okay. Yeah, it just looked really bland and kind of generic to me from the trailer, despite the fact that it had giant cities that were moving. The actual like plot and content of it felt very generic. Dan, out of interest compared to last year, how are you liking new TV series this year, Pete? Since I know last year you didn't think there was many good new series as the years prior. Yeah, that's true. Last year was definitely a little bit less fruitful for new shows. And that's not to say that TV wasn't good last year. TV was great last year. It was just mostly returning shows that were great. But I mean, let's see. I mean, so far, I don't know if we've had much so far. But I do love Doom Patrol. Doom Patrol is very good. There's definitely a lot of potential, though. It's funny you asked that question because the almost cancelled extra we just did for Patreon, that's going up soon, was kind of a 2019 preview where we sort of looked up all the shows that we expect to hit this year. And there's a lot of stuff coming. There's Watchmen, there's Lovecraft Country, there's Nosferatu, there's the LDC Universe shows, of course. Like, there's a bunch of stuff coming that could be interesting. Twilight Zone, of course, starting soon. I'm very hopeful for this year, actually. I think there's a potential for a lot. For a lot of good shows this year. So I think I don't know if I'd say it's better yet. Maybe it is. I probably like Doom Patrol more than I liked anything that had started by this point last year. So I guess it is better so far. But I think for the year looking ahead, the prospects are looking very good. Alright, so this would probably ruin the meta narrative of the franchise. But do you think Hollywood will eventually try to remake Scream? They probably will, yeah. Also, RS, I am like, welcome to the stream, first of all, and secondly, I am almost in shock that you're asking a question that's not about either Heroes in Crisis, Wally West, or a DC TV show. I'm in shock. No, I think they probably will eventually. Unfortunately, uh, I like Scream quite a bit. I have a lot of nostalgia for Scream. I watched that far too young, and have nostalgia for it. Pardon me. Um, the sequels are okay. I mean, 2 and 4 are okay and have some bright spots. 3 is terrible. Do I want a Scream remake? No, I don't want one at all. But that doesn't mean it couldn't be good. But I mean, I think remake still has this stigma of being like, usually they end up being bad, especially when it's a remake of a good movie, right? But every so often there's enough examples now to be like, no, they're not always bad. Like there's good remakes and reboots. Evil Dead, pretty good. The Thing, obviously fantastic. What else was there recently? I can't remember. There's definitely another good remake recently. I'm forgetting what it was now. Sheldon, better to read the book than watch the movie, most people said. Pet Cemetery? Okay, okay. Tim's read the book, so when we review it, he can weigh in on the book to movie comparisons. Nika Dav, welcome to the stream. The Americans are so underrated. It's the Breaking Bad of spy shows. That's cool. Which means inherently I'm probably going to like it less than Breaking Bad because I inherently dislike, well, not dislike, but I'm not as interested in spy stuff. But from what I saw of season 1, it was pretty good. It was high quality. I do love me some Breaking Bad though. And I'm really hoping that AMC's next big thing is Nosferatu, because it's getting good buzz. The early reviews of the pilot have been positive. I'm excited. Yeah, it's right. You'll probably get sick of me saying this, but I'm like, end of March, start of April are so busy for us TV wise because there's so many binge shows starting at once. We are going to be, I feel like right now our output on YouTube feels quite relaxed almost. I feel like, there's only one thing going up some days, and it's just quite like somber. I feel like once in a couple of weeks' time, there's going to be a Netflix or Amazon review going up pretty much every day. Of not the same thing every day, but there'll be something going up every day on top of whatever the usual content is. Which hopefully we can get that done. Cindy, there's word that AMC is bringing back Orphan Black with new characters and actors. Yeah, it's set in the same world. We talked about that in the news. They're saying it's not a spin-off. I would still call that a spin-off if it's set in the same world. I don't think it needs to have a character that like takes it, that from that show to make it a spin-off. I don't think it. I'd still call it a spin-off, but terminology. It's just semantics, I suppose. But the amount of fights I have to get into about video games and what constitutes a reboot, a remake, and a remaster, it just upsets my mind. And now people say that like Resident Evil remake, the best video game remake of all time, isn't a remake anymore because it does more than just remake it. And I'm like, no, it is a remake. It's still a remake. Shut up. Don't confuse matters. It's maddening, but yeah. Right, I finally finished my 100 worst horror movies list. It took forever. I'm not surprised. I've never done a worst 50 or 100 horror movies. I've done a best 50. In fact, I've done a best 100. Me and Tim did top 100 a few years ago, but never a worst 100. I think one of the ideas that I had recently was to like do a top 10. You know how at the end of the year we do the top 10 movies of 2018, 2019, whatever. To start doing that for old years, like maybe like halfway through the year, just pick a year and be like, oh, here's the top 10 movies of 1987, and but make a point of watching some 1987 movies to try and fill in our blank spots before we do it. I like the idea of doing that. So I think that's something you might see soon. I don't think I've talked anyone into it yet, but it's coming. It's something I'm thinking about. So, and if we are going to like spend time like filling in the blanks and doing some influxes on the movies of that year, like maybe gradually over a few months, because we couldn't really do that every week's episode. We'd have other things to do, but just kind of gradually. Dan, do you have a maximum amount of TV shows you're willing to do at a time so you can fit it into a schedule, or is it just dependent on how you feel at any given time? Do some reviews get cancelled to make room for new shows that are coming, or some series get overlooked if you have quite a packed returning schedule? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of all of the above, bizarrely. I mean, I don't know, we don't have like a strict number, like that's the number that we can do, especially since, like, I remember a couple of years ago, there was a time when there was very little streaming shows we were doing, and it was mostly weekly TV. So it was like easier to schedule in the sense that it's okay, we have like 6 shows a week, but it was 6 shows spread out over the week, and that would just go into the schedule where it made sense for each episode. But streaming shows make it really weird because it's like, okay, this is a 10 episode season. We want to try and go through that pretty consistently. We want to hit it, every other day maybe. And, I'm looking, and we're looking at trying to do that. But if there's other weekly shows on at the same time, then it's like, okay, we have to fit it around those weekly shows. Because obviously, when a new episode of Star Trek Discovery comes out, we want to devote that as the next TV review we do because it's fresh, it's new, it's, for YouTube's sake, people will be looking for Star Trek reviews, right after an episode. So we wanted to get that up as quickly as possible. So that factors into it. One of the things that happens is that if we have 2 shows on the same night, let's say there's 2 shows on a Friday night, and there's a third new show starting on a Friday night, that's when it might not even get looked at because it's we can't realistically get to it any quickly. But if it's on another part of the week, if it's okay, we've got a busy back half of the week, but there's a new show on a Tuesday that looks quite good, we'll probably try that because we know we probably have time to cover that at that time of the week. As for cancelling reviews, that tends to be based more on if we just don't want to talk about it anymore. Although that said, there are some times where we just don't have time to do something. I remember we wanted to go through that Hulu show The First, and we liked the pilot, and we said we were going to do more, and then we just kept not having time to do the next one. And then, a few weeks passed, and it was well, it's been 2 weeks, 3 weeks since episode 1, and it's a streaming show, so all the episodes were up at the same time, and it was well, I think the time has passed. The same thing happened with Castlevania Season 2. So sometimes it just kind of happens naturally, and then we eventually just have to make the call that the time has passed, and we're not going to go back and do it. But certainly, yeah, sometimes the schedule fills up, and cuts have to be made. But there's no hard, number in our heads, per se. Having 2 streaming shows launched at the same time, though, is an absolute nightmare, and that is what we're about to do at the end of March. We have a Netflix show starting this coming Friday. The following week, another Netflix show and an Amazon show, and then the week after that, another Netflix show starts, and another Amazon show. We have 5 shows between Netflix and Amazon starting over a 3-week period, which is going to be hell, and we'll see how it works out. I think the plan right now, because the Netflix shows are more popular, more people watch our Netflix reviews, and that is consistent across the board. So the Netflix stuff is going to be prioritized in the sense that that'll probably be the every other day, roughly, as best as we can do. And the Amazon shows will probably be more slow. It'll probably be more one a week. But they will do less views-wise anyway, so it's kind of no, we still want to do them, but we can't give it the same devotion that the Netflix shows are getting. And that's just purely an economical thing, really, with our time and attention. RS, this is the last time I'll bring up recasting Resident Evil with DC characters. What about Kate Kane as Wesker? If Wayne Enterprises Umbrella instead of LexCorp, I think it could work. If you're thinking the future Wayne, the future Kate Kane from what was that arc that called? The future dystopian where Kate was in charge of Gotham, from Batwoman, last year or year before that, whatever it was. I can see it. I can see what you're saying. Reggae, what are the shows? The OA Part 2 is this week, I think, and then next week, Hannah Season 2 Hannah Season 1, sorry, on Amazon, with Osmosis, which is a French original Netflix show, and then the week after that, we have The Tick Season 2 on Amazon and Sabrina Season 2 on Netflix. Those are all the shows that are starting. Dan, did you end up watching Castlevania Season 2 in your spare time despite not reviewing it? I was very impressed by it considering the video game adaptation history up till this point. No, I didn't. The truth is, there's very few shows I watch that we aren't reviewing, because we do review so much. We spend so much time reviewing stuff that I have very little time to watch other shows on top of that. And if I do, it tends to be sitcoms. It tends to be catching up on Brooklyn Nine-Nine or The Good Place or something like that. Something light and kind of, easy to fit in. But yeah, as I say, it never happens. I did get halfway through Person of Interest like 2 years ago, and I really want to like go back and finish it. Although it's been so long now, I kind of want to start from scratch again. But I was enjoying that show. Um, but yeah, we have a busy schedule. Watching, I feel like we watch so much TV. I don't really feel the need to watch more TV if it's not review stuff. OA Part 2 has a lot to live up to for me, considering how long it's taken off from the first season. Yeah, it's been two plus years. It's been a long time. I'm looking forward to it though. I really like that first season. It worries me that perhaps it won't get as much ratings wise, as people may not be interested anymore. I don't know how well the first one did. Honestly, it's kind of weird. Like, I feel like the first one came at a time when there was less Netflix originals like consistently. I mean, they were starting to like pump them out, but it was definitely like we're at a point now where there's at least one every week. So yeah, it might go under the radar. I was surprised it got a season 2, to be honest. So we'll see. But if this is the end, then hopefully it's good. That's mainly my thinking. Renegade, when is Mr. Robot? We don't know yet. They're just starting to shoot it right now. Season 4, because they were doing table reads recently. The actors were posting out photographs of the table reads, so they're just starting shooting about now. Alright, so I don't know how they would do Secret Invasion after the events of Captain Marvel, but there is some speculation that Talos, unnamed daughter, will grow up and turn out to be Queen Varenki. Uh, yeah, I wonder if it'll be the idea that there's like it's not all Skrulls who come to like do the Secret Invasion. It's like there'll be like the good Skrulls coming behind them to try and help or something. I don't know. Given that they've set them up as a sympathetic race in Captain Marvel. I should do some housekeeping actually. I've not plugged and shilled anything yet. So yeah, if you're watching, you enjoy our content and you want to support everything we do, you can go over to patreon.com/Mild Fuzz TV. You can support us over there for as little as $1 per month. We just put up a bonus exclusive streams after midnight in that $1 tier. Almost cancelled extra will be going up in the next day or two. That tier, that $1 tier, so you can go over there and have a look and get some bonus stuff. If you want to make a one-time donation, you can do that in the chat. It's called the super chat. So there's a dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat. You click that, you can donate some money. And yeah, so and get your name on the list, I guess. That's the only real incentive other than the warm fuzzy feeling you'll get. But yeah, so and also get us on Twitter at @Mild_Fuzz, and always remember to like and subscribe. There's my shilling. Back to your regularly scheduled discussion. Ragged Hero, The Invisible Maniac. I never heard of that movie. I'm glad, because you've heard of a lot of weird shit. I am glad that I've stumped you with the selection of The Invisible Maniac. Oh, it's a special one. Oh, you've heard of it? Oh, you've heard of it? Oh, sorry. I misread. You're right. You've heard of it. That upsets me. You've not seen it though. So, the Screams Extra was a fun listen. Yeah, it was a fun one. I think me and Tim had fun talking about that one. No idea what the next extra one's going to be, but we shall see. Oh, what's the Ginge messaging me about? He's watching stuff for later. That will be recording after the live stream, which I already watched because I'm oddly prepared this week, and that's not necessarily a normal thing. Squeezing in things last minute is my repertoire. My entire repertoire, not just in my repertoire, my entire repertoire. Tara, should do Manus the Hands of Fate next. Is that what the Streams Extras like sort of like being shoehorned into as the so bad it's good movies? Is that the brand now for those? Yeah, I'll message Tim later. Hey Tim, have you seen Manus the Hands of Fate? he'll be like, "Of course I have, Peter. Oh, do I look uncivilized?" And I'm like, "Well, I've not seen it. Let's do it for Screams." Okay then. Dunno. Actually, I mean, Tim brought up Troll 2 in the review, but not done Troll 2. Should we do Troll 1 though? I feel like Troll 2 is the one everyone cares about. Gotta say though, there's a lot of better bad good movies than Troll 2. Troll 2 for some reason has this cred as being the worst best movie, and I don't think it is. Like it's got some funny parts in it, like it's got some moments, but I liked Invisible Maniac more. I like The Room more. That's not a horror movie obviously, but oh, and The Pit. Oh, I love The Pit. I love The Pit so much. Dan, I'm wondering if this year will be as good for horror as the last couple have been in terms of movies and series. It seems to have a resurgence in the last couple of years. Dan, I think it might be, just looking at TV shows, I mentioned earlier Lovecraft Country and Nosferatu. Nosferatu is getting good buzz from the pilot early screenings, and Lovecraft Country is set in the 50s, and it's got Lovecraft-inspired elements, and it's produced by Jordan Peele. There's some good potential in the horror series this year. And I think we might be getting season 2 of The Terror as well, if that peaks in. So, here's hoping. And the director of The Witch has got a film coming out called The Lighthouse, which I'm looking forward to, so that's good. RS, if my fears with Heroes in Crisis turn out to be true, I just think Wally's heel turn should be written by someone who has written the character before, like Johns or Wade, with King, in my opinion, going to feel forced. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think Wally turning out to be a villain will feel forced no matter what, honestly, but I can see it. Cindy, have you seen the documentary about Troll 2? Best worst movie? I have not seen it. I've seen some clips from it. I've seen the great clip where the actor who plays the dad is like insulting people who go to like horror conventions, and the people who the celebrities that go because they're like kind of washed up stars. And he has this moment of like self-realization that that's what he's doing, because he's all happy to be there. He's making money like from doing signings and stuff, and he's like all happy that he's getting this attention, and he's kind of mocking other people who go to it. And then he realizes that he's one of those people, and that he's the washed-up star who's only living off the fame of one thing that he's done. It's really funny. Hobgoblins, Tara. I've not seen Hobgoblins. Maybe that's one we should do. Yeah, but it's a fantastic clip. That I've seen that clip. It's a fantastic moment. It's like self-realization. Hobgoblins is a hemline. Sorry, Gremlins knockoff. I was going to say hemline. What's a hemline? Oh, I know what a hemline is, but what's hemline in the context of movies? It's a Gremlins knockoff. Is it a fun Gremlins knockoff though? Is it so bad it's good Gremlins knockoff? Nico Dav, The Stand is coming. Novel is epic. I hope the adaptation will be as good as the book. That's something we missed on the extra, actually. Because, I mean, I said at the start of the extra that this was not a list of everything. It was a list of the stuff that, you know, just that came to mind that we found in various articles. Stuff saying that these things were expected this year. But it wasn't, like, all-encompassing by any means. Oh, pardon me. My body's not with it today. Right, I watched a couple of 70s horror movies this weekend. Go on, name them. Name them and shame them. It's great. There's a rake fight. A rake fight? I don't think I've ever heard anyone tell me that before. Rake fight. I'm in. Cindy, I felt so bad for him. Yeah, it's a little bit sad. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with people, like, you know, going to conventions if they had, like, one famous horror movie, like, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whatever. Like, I think the problem is that he was demeaning others who do it and then realised he's one of those people. And it's like, it's fine if you have self-awareness. If you'd like, no, fun, people still like me for what I did. Sure, go and, you know, meet those people, hang out, and enjoy people who appreciate your work. But, you know. Reggae, Scream of the Wolf, which had an interesting twist, and The Horror at 37,000 feet. Yeah. Rake is in the garden tool. That's what I'm assuming, Sheldon. I'm assuming that it's a rake fight as in a garden rake. Dan, I think American Werewolf in London is probably my favourite horror movie. I can't really place why. I watched it when I was young, so I figured nostalgia plays a part. Could be a cool potential remake. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily go around horror movies like thinking, oh, this should be remade or that should be remade, but We don't have a lot of good werewolf movies. In fact, your next comment, werewolves don't get too much to shine too much in general. I can't remember too many recent ones. Honestly, I will stand by this. I think there's only two werewolf movies that I really like, and that is American Werewolf in London and Ginger Snaps. Almost every other werewolf movie I can think of is bad or mediocre. When was American Werewolf in London remade, Serenity? Also, welcome to the stream. It had a sequel. It had American Werewolf in Paris, but that wasn't a remake. What was I saying? Yeah, like, because I mean, The Howling obviously is brought up, but I think that's only okay. The sequels are bad to terrible. Cursed was terrible. People like Dog Soldiers. I wasn't really that into it. Not a lot of good werewolf movies. I have to admit, there's not a lot of ones that I really like. Just the two. Whereas vampires and zombies have like tons of great movies. Tons of them. I'm going to search this. I don't recall an American Wolf in London remake. Remake. Apparently Max Landis was working on a remake. Well, that's what you're thinking of, yeah. It's not happened yet, but apparently they're working on one. Although Max Landis has had some problems here or there, so we'll see if it happens. Which is weird because his dad directed the original, of course. Do 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 do. That is your Friday the 13th sound effects for anyone who was curious. Keep Max Landis far away from that script. Do you know, I would love to like shit on Max Landis because he annoys me, right? But he did write at least one really good movie that I quite liked, and that was Mr. Right. That's what it's called, Mr. Right, with Sam Rockwell and Anna Kendrick. That was a really good little movie. I liked that a lot. Sheldon, because everyone goes to monsters or vampires and zombies. What is your favourite monster, Pete? By the way, both of those are played out now. They are played out. Tara 1, yes, just the one, yes. My favourite monster? I mean, in terms of horror monsters, because my instinct is to say Godzilla, but Godzilla is not. You're thinking of John Landis, Renegade. That was his father. But monsters. So I'd say Godzilla, but obviously that's not a horror monster. So that'd be my answer. But like, if I'm saying like horror monster, then probably the Xenomorph. Maybe the Predator. For like specific ones. In terms of like general things though, where you get a lot of them, like vampires, zombies, werewolves, and your other weirder ones. I have to be boring. I like zombies. There's a lot of bad zombie stories, but there's some really great zombie stories. So in terms of the subgenre, like which one do I like the most? I'd probably say zombie. But yeah, my favorite specific monster though is Godzilla. RS, one thing that would eventually be interesting with Heroes in Crisis, what if Wally or the AI uses the holodeck to recreate the pre-Flashpoint versus of Clark, Bruce, and Diana to fight the Trinity? I mean, can the holodeck actually harm anyone? Well, I mean, if the holodeck killed everyone, then I guess it can. But, like, can it physically interact with people in the sense where it'll actually hurt them? I mean, I guess the stuff we've seen with the other characters kind of shows that it does, but I wonder if it's like, does it actually hurt them or does it just make them think they're being hurt? I guess is what I'm saying. Yeah, he wrote Chronicle, American Ultra. American Ultra I never saw, but I hated the trailer. Victor Frankenstein I never saw, but I hated the trailer. Tara liked Mr. Right too. I'm glad. I liked that movie a lot. I thought it was really fun. Those characters were delightful. Chronicle was okay. I didn't like the ending though. I thought the third act completely whiffed on where it was going. Like at the end of the movie, I just didn't care about the characters anymore. It was kind of weird. The holodeck is the danger room, so yeah, just push the danger to max. I mean, we don't know if it's actually for training purposes though. It's just like a tool to let them get over grief in Heroes in Crisis. So it may not necessarily function that way. Godzilla vs King Kong kaiju fight. Yeah, Godzilla's winning, right? That chump, not chimp, that chump, King Kong, ain't got a chance against the King of the Lizards. All right, that monkey is going down, and ain't no one going to convince me otherwise. Did you see him use his atomic breath into that Muto's mouth? Did you see that in Godzilla 2014? Kong ain't got a chance. Ain't got a chance. Renegade, I saw Victor Frankenstein. McAvoy made the movie. It was okay. Very strange film. All that is people, as good people blew up to be, but it was a good film. Max is a very strange guy, just like me, which is why I love him. He is a strange guy. There's truth in that. We can agree on his strangeness. Holy shit! I hope he could turn. Well, that you can't see. No, you can't even see. If I hold it back, you can't. Oh, you can. If I angle it, right? Look at that. Look at that wall of text. See that wall of text? That's a YouTube comment. That is a YouTube comment someone left. I've not read it yet. I don't know what it's saying, but that's a YouTube comment on Star Trek Discovery's last episode. Freaking huge. Oh dear. Have you seen the preview for the upcoming issue of Justice League? I haven't. I've not really been looking at the previews recently. But is it interesting? All this sixth dimension stuff. Last issue was pretty good though. I liked the last issue. Cindy, Team King Kong. Sorry, Pete. Well, that's fine, Cindy. I guess you're just dead to me. I guess you're just dead to me. You can take your monkey and you can go to Skull Island and you can be next to, characterless Loki. Tom Hiddleston, that's his name. Tom Hiddleston. But yeah. Sheldon, Denzel in Training Day scene comes up as you say that. Yeah, okay. It's been a long time since I've seen Training Day, actually. I saw it once, like a long time ago. I do like those actors, Denzel and Ethan Hawke. I like both those guys. Dan, who are your favourite horror directors for the future, besides Jordan Peele, of course? It's bad that I can't remember his name, but director of It Follows, director of Hereditary, and the director of The Witch. All of whom's names I can't remember yet, because I've only done one movie that I've watched. I tend not to remember director names until I've done a couple. But all of those directors, those are the ones I've got my eyes on, because those are some of my favourite horror movies of the last few years. So I look forward to that. And I'm sure once I see those names, I'm going to recognise them immediately, but I can't remember them off the top of my head. Tara, Max Landis is an ideas guy. He's got a lot of ideas, but none are very good. Well, the odd one's okay. Copy and paste that text. Oh, sorry. Copy and use speech to text. Yeah. Not time to read all that. Tara, yeah, don't mess with Trekkies. Yeah, apparently not. I'll get a Bible in return. Here's a Bible to read. RS, New Robin. That's all I'll say. New Robin, you say? Interesting. Consider me interested. Intrigued, even. Serenity, I'm always late with everything. Haven't watched my Thursday shows yet, and just started on my comics this morning. That's fair. You can be behind everything. I mean, the upside of being behind in everything is that channels like ours, all our reviews will be there for you by the time you get there. Like, you don't have to wait for them because you've not read or watched anything yet. Reggae, don't you dare say anything against Hiddleston. I was not saying something bad about Hiddleston. I was complaining that his character had no, well, character. The script gave him nothing to do. Him and Brie Larson in that movie had no characters. They were just there. And they're likable enough people, but I didn't hate the movie though. Like, there was some fun Kong stuff. Again, no. Ain't got no chance against Godzilla. I mean, how am I supposed to think Kong poses a threat after Ghidorah in the next one? Come on. Come on now. I won't have it. I just won't have it. Oh, there you go, Renegade. Ari Aster, director of Hereditary. Robert Eggers, director of The Witch, or The Vivitch. And David Robert Mitchell, director of It Follows. There you go. See, I knew which one did what once I saw the names. Yes, those three, for sure. The comment reviews you put up in a tab to watch when you're done. Yeah, I mean, that's the neat thing about YouTube, is they'll just be there for you when you get to Shell and all that. That is an iconic scene where when Denzel screams to everyone, "He is the man and he runs shit, and they just live here. King Kong ain't got shit on me." Ah, okay. I kind of remember it now that you brought it up. I'll be honest, I'd be rooting for Denzel over King Kong too. I feel like Denzel's in a lot of mediocre movies, but he's always really enjoyable in them. Except for DC TV reviews, those of course watch. Yeah. Tara, whoever directed the Evil Dead remake is on my radar for horror. Oh yeah, I like him too, because he also did uh, Don't Breathe. That was the same director. Don't Breathe and Evil Dead with the same dude. And I liked that too. It wasn't as good as Evil Dead, but they were both good. So yes, I would add that person also to my my horror radar. Cindy, Denzel is great. I agree. Man on Fire, great little revenge movie. James Wan's pretty good, although he seems to be veering away from horror right now. But I loved Insidious. I enjoyed the Conjuring movies. Dead Silence that he did with the puppet was garbage, and I don't really care for Saw that much, but he hit his stride and had a couple of great horror movies. RS, do you ever think DC will make omnibus collections for Green Lantern after issue 89? Pre-Crisis Green Lantern was only 200 issues before Crisis on Infinite Earths. So why not release the remaining 111 issues? Yeah, I think they'll do, because they did Silver Age, right? And then the Green Arrow, Green Lantern section. I think they'll probably do that as Bronze Age omnibuses when they start doing Bronze Age stuff, because there's a couple of Bronze Age omnibus, but they've not been skipping ahead for specific characters though. Like if the character started in the Silver Age, then they've just started with Silver Age. For because Batman and Superman don't have Silver Age books yet. They have nothing but Golden Age. So I think they will do Bronze Age omnibus for that section. Probably three of them. You could probably get maybe four, depending on how big they are. Dan, random question, but when it comes to action, how long do you think guys like Tom Cruise and Keanu Reeves have left in them? Surely they can't keep going forever within the genre. It's an excellent question, and Tom Cruise really should be done by now. But somehow that man keeps doing stunts and keeps refusing to age, and he keeps doing it. And we've got at least two more Mission Impossibles, which means that there's at least 3 or 4 years more of Tom Cruise in action movies. Which means he's probably going to be like 60 by the time we get to that. And Keanu, like, will he do much after? I mean, this is the thing though. Like, there's still like direct-to-video movies with like Jean-Claude Van Damme doing action movies, and Arnold still kind of tries to do them occasionally. It's weird. Uh, those two though that you brought up, those guys have been doing quite well still, so I think they're fine for now. But I don't know, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 at a push. Because it gets to the point of silliness where it's like, okay, they're too old now. We can't take this seriously. Although Liam Neeson's kind of made a career out of it, so who's to say? Serenity. Does anyone keep up with Family Guy? Something funny happened recently on the show with Quagmire. I've not seen Family Guy in like probably 10 years, but others might have done. Sheldon, James Gunn is back at Marvel. I can't wait for the next movie reviews to get your guys' thoughts on it. The next movie news, you mean? Yeah. We'll talk about that next weekend. But we'll be definitely talking about that. There's definitely the big news of the last week. Very good. I like Dead Silence. I enjoy dumb horror. He also did Death Sentence with Bacon. Yes, the Baconator. Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't going the way they wanted. Honestly, I would speculate they stopped looking for a replacement a long time ago, and they just waited for so long to pass before announcing that they wanted him back. I would speculate such a thing. He's doing Suicide Squad 2 first though, so it's effectively delayed Guardians 3 by a couple of years. All this kerfuffle, but it's still coming. And fondness makes the heart grow fonder. Or sorry, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Did you see La Llorona is part of the Conjuring universe? I did not see that. Wait, what? This is news to me. Thinking they don't have much faith in the movie, so they just stuck the Conjuring brand on it to sell more tickets. That's upsetting. I did not see that. That does feel tacked on. That's starting to feel like when they slap on Steven Spielberg Presents onto a movie when he had almost nothing to do with it. So that's that's bad. RS, they keep releasing Green Lantern, Green Arrow, and I know Jeff Shun is also iconic, but come on, I want to read the rest of Hal Oliver and Dinah's Bronze Age adventures. I think because they're doing all these Silver Age books and they're working their way up to Bronze Age. I mean, Batgirl has some Bronze Age books. I'm hoping they'll get there. As a digital reader, annoyingly, I have to wait till they do the trade versions where they split them up into 2 or 3 trades because that's when they put them on Comixology. So I would really hope they start getting through them so that they'll go up digitally. Because I have the first 3 Flash Silver Age. I've got the first 3 Green Lantern Silver Age. And the 4th Flash one just came out. So I'm hoping. Right, I even read that Disney didn't look for a replacement. Yeah. Tara, do you buy into the? Oh, okay, that wasn't the whole sentence. That's fine. The rumor that Spielberg directed Poltergeist. I mean, is that a rumor? I thought it was pretty concrete that Toby Hooper Well, okay, I guess the fact that I guess it's been a rumor that he came in and reshot a lot of it, or he came in and started fixing things. But Toby Hooper, from what I recall, he had a lot of problems on set. They had a lot of creative differences. I don't know. I think this might have been during the time when he was hopped up on cocaine, and yeah. But that's always been the thing, right? Is that Spielberg secretly kind of fixed a lot of it or directed a lot of scenes. And to be honest, there's scenes in that movie that feel Spielberg. There's definitely Spielbergy sections of that movie. So I kind of do buy into it, I guess. If he didn't direct it, he definitely had an influence on some of that movie. So, yeah. I don't actually love Poltergeist that much, though, to be honest. I'm not a big Poltergeist fan. I think it's fine. It's an okay movie. But I don't have any attachment to it. And the remake was eek. I like Sam Rockwell, but man, that remake was dull. He should make another horror movie. You know what? He should, because Jaws is one of his best movies, and even Jurassic Park, which it's not a horror film, it definitely has horror scenes in it. I think Spielberg is maybe at his best when he's doing horror and sci-fi, and he's been kind of avoiding that for a while. I mean, I know Ready Player One was sci-fi, but it was it was wafer thin sci-fi. I didn't like Ready Player One that much. What order you put these directors from best to worst? Kubrick, Scorsese, Spielberg, Cameron. Um, I think I think number one is Kubrick, although arguably I have more of an attachment to Cameron's films. But I'll say Kubrick number one, Cameron number two, and Spielberg and Scorsese are both hit and miss for me. Um, but I'll say Spielberg first, then Scorsese last. Only because some Spielberg movies speak to me just a little bit more, but they both have a thing where I don't like half their movies. Like Scorsese's very hit and miss. Like my favorite Scorsese movies are Taxi Driver and Hugo, which are like so far apart. It's so different. Not not only in time but in just like what the movie is. Spielberg, on the other hand, I feel like kind of like had like a great like 15-20 year period, and then I've not really liked that much that he's done since that period. But like, man, Jaws, Jurassic Park, E.T., like Indiana Jones, all the Indiana Jones, well, the original Indiana Jones trilogy, like that is like fantastic. But I grew up in Cameron. Kubrick's someone that I got more into older when I was older and like started to really appreciate film. I think out of just raw talent, he's the best one on that list. But him and Cameron are definitely the two that come to mind first. Based on the cover for Deceased issue 2, do you think it's just Dick, Barbara, and Damien, or do you think the entire Bat family minus Bruce has been infected? Probably all of them. I honestly though, covers can be so misleading. I'm not even convinced that any of them are infected. I mean, they may very well be, but I don't know. I don't trust it. Very good. I would call Jurassic Park a horror movie. Giant lizards eating people fits the bill. It's more about tone, I think. It feels more like an adventure movie with like horror elements to me, but I see what you're saying. Tara, the best part of Ready Player One was the Shining scene. So this is the Kubrick part. He was emulating Kubrick, therefore it was better. I agree. That was the best part of the movie. That was the one time where I was like, ooh, okay. Everything else in that movie though, it just felt like oh, we're going to like name drop or show you a character you recognize, and because it's a pop culture reference, it disguises the fact that our story's kind of shitty. I'm supposed to be excited that there's a CGI Batgirl, or there's a CGI Freddy Krueger, or there's a CGI this or that. It just felt like, hey, look, you recognize this thing, the movie, without any actual. I don't know. Not a fan of Kubrick, Renegade? That's okay. The Post was okay. Yeah, it was okay. It's not like it's a poorly made movie, but it's just okay. Tara, Jurassic Park is a monster movie, so yeah, it's a horror. I mean, I get what you guys are saying. It kind of is. It's in my sci-fi section because I look at genetically engineered monsters that are big like that, like kaiju sized or dinosaur sized, as more of a science fiction thing. I would always put Godzilla in sci-fi. Same with dinosaurs. But it's a personal choice. Where someone puts a monster movie like Godzilla versus Destroyer is kind of up to them. RS, what if in reference to Marvel Zombies Dead Days, when Hank Pym returned to the Avengers mansion and found his teammates eating Jarvis, what if Bruce finds the Bat family eating Alfred in the Batcave? Is that too on the nose? Would you say Dino Crisis is a horror game? Well, I would. I would say Dino Crisis is a survival horror game, but Dino Crisis is also a sci-fi game. Like, I'd say the plot of Dino Crisis is science fiction, but the gameplay style is survival horror. Does that make sense? Because the plot is about opening like a dimensional door, a rift to another dimension where dinosaurs exist. And the characters are all like these military guys and girls who are like really tough and like know how to take care of themselves. The aesthetic isn't very horror, but it's got a survival horror playstyle in that you're surviving on limited ammo, you're solving puzzles, that kind of thing. So when it comes to video games, there's like two genres to talk about. There's the story genre, which is the same as a movie. What's the story and what's the feel of it, and then there's the gameplay genre. So games are a tricky pickle to get into. Speaking of games, Google streamed tomorrow for that thingamajig, and I think me and Connor are going to watch it potentially together. I don't know. I don't know if we're streaming like reactions to it or if there's some technical stuff I'd have to work out if we're doing that. So I'm not going to make any promises, but I think we considered it. But it also could be very boring and not be an exciting new console that we thought it would. It could be like a little streaming stick. It's like, hey, you can play games on your streaming stick. Alright, I want a movie or comic where a predator goes to Earth for a hunt only to get stuck in Earth during the zombie apocalypse. That's a neat idea, actually. That's thinking outside the box for a new Predator movie. Predator versus zombies, and have no human beings. Just have them like land and like have to deal with the fact that there's a zombie apocalypse. That's kind of interesting. You two trashing each other is enough entertainment. We'll see what we can do. If we don't do a live thing with it, because the problem is we can't just sync up our streams because streams are like slightly off for everyone, by a second or two. So to have our reactions be in sync, we have to do this weird convoluted thing where he watches the stream through me, but to do that I have to make sure that he gets the audio from me, but the audio doesn't record. Like it's really complicated. We have done it before, but it was a real pain in the neck to set up. So we'll see if we can set it up for tomorrow. The program virtual audio cable is a real dick and likes to just not randomly work. And there's a lot of like turning it off and on again to make it work. But we'll see what we can do. Oh, pardon me. If we don't do something live, we'll like come in and talk about it straight after probably, or record us talking about it straight after. Wasn't Connor drunk the last time you guys live streamed together? He was indeed, yes. He was. He basically agreed to stick around because he was drunk, and then he was only meant to be here for the first 10-15 minutes to say hi, and he ended up staying for like 5 hours. Which was the whole stream. We're watching Civil War this week? Yeah, we'll put Civil War on. But like last time though, it won't be like we have to focus on Civil War. We can still just chat normally. I'm happy just having that on in the background for some memory refreshments. Dan, despite your dislike of fantasy as a genre, is there a series or film where the genre that shattered your expectations and you enjoyed it more than expected? Not series. Well, actually, there's a movie. I like Stardust a lot. Stardust by Matthew Vaughn is a fun-ass film. That's really good. In terms of a serious fantasy thing, I love The Witcher 3, the video game. That's fantastic. So there are exceptions. There are some limited exceptions to when I actually like a fantasy thing, but they're few and far between. The major examples of Lord of the Rings and Game of the Thrones, bleh. Nuke them from orbit, it's the only way to be sure. Okay, and nuke them from orbit. Whoa, that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood poster looks photoshopped to shit. Brad Pitt's head does not look it matches his body. How odd. Dan, would you watch the Witcher Netflix series then, given you liking the video game? Oh yeah, we'll definitely try it. We'll definitely be trying that and reviewing the pilot at the very least. Theo not liking Game of Thrones is weird. I mean, I'm okay being weird. That's fine. I find that show to be extremely boring. Like when I was trying to watch it and I got to like the start of season 2, I was having to watch like in 10-minute chunks because it was putting me to sleep. I just couldn't pay attention to it. Oh dear. Have you ever read Alex Ross's 12-issue Justice? It's an Elseworld story set in an Earth that is very similar to pre-Crisis Earth 1 and is a love letter to Satellite Era, JL, and Super Friends. I have indeed. I actually love that story. Me and Connor did a monthly episode on it on Patreon sometime last year, I think. And I love revisiting it, actually, because I read that like a long time ago. Like that was maybe in the first like 10, 15 like trades I ever read was that Alex Ross Jim Kruger Justice Story. It's so good. I love that book. Where's my control? My TV was going to turn off. That would be unfortunate. Not anything important's on it right now, but I have my OBS, my streaming software. It's nice to be able to see that and just check my audio levels are bouncing and some such. Oh, pardon me. Man, all the body noises are happening in this stream. I'll tell you what I'm looking forward to tomorrow, hopefully. As I like, even if we don't get a console from Google, I really want some new games revealed. Like, that'll be a big deal if they do that. Tara, are you going to do less live streams when the all new shows start? No, probably not. Because the live streams are kind of during time when I wouldn't be doing stuff anyway, kind of thing. Like, when I talk about the new shows taking up the schedule and making things tougher, it's kind of based on like when me and Connor can record typically. So if me and Connor have like 2 or 3 slots a day or whatever, it takes up those slots. It doesn't really affect anything I do outside of those slots, as it were. So the stream shouldn't be affected that much. Oh. I mean, maybe the Monday one might move time a little bit, I don't know. But probably not. I don't think so. So all those gaming streams will still be happening, most likely. Aren't the gaming streams becoming overwhelming? Not over. Well, because they're not planned. There's things that I have to do. I never commit to the gaming streams. I just do that when I feel like it. So if I'm streaming a game, it's because I feel like doing it, not because like I felt an obligation or I felt like, oh, I promised a gaming stream, because I never do. I just kind of do it when I want to. The gaming streams are what I do when I want to just have fun playing a game, and I figure I might as well stream while doing so. So sometimes they slow down because I'm not playing as much games, and sometimes they speed back up when I'm in a mood to play a lot of games. But no, they're never a burden. Because they're just like, do I feel like doing it? If I don't, because I almost streamed some games on Saturday night, and I decided to take the night off, just to like not burn out on games, but also because I had some movies to watch for streams, so I just spent the time doing other things. Cindy, will you guys review Us while it's in theaters? We will indeed. That should be up on Monday, the review. Because we'll be seeing. Well, I'm seeing it on Friday. Tim, sometime over the weekend, I assume. Alright, since you like Justice, there's a trade called The World's Greatest Superheroes. It has 5 stories: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Captain Marvel, and a Justice League story. Alright, cool. Is that Alex Ross as well? Or is it just a similar story, or similar kind of sentimentality? It's Alex Ross, cool. I do like Alex Ross's art a lot. A lot. Same universe as Justice, but different stories. Oh, that's cool. I did not know this existed. I really like Justice, though. So yeah, Joe, it's funny, we've had so many like movie reviews go up this month because of the Batman month. There's been a lot of movie content to go out. The I, Tonya review, which you know is coming because that was one of the Patreon votes, that'll be the week after the Batman reviews stop, basically. That's in the canon, just waiting to go. And then we'll see what happens after that. Right, it's been a while since we had a good actual scary movie in the theaters. What was the last really tense movie in the theaters? Hereditary, maybe? I think. Dan, is there any specific movies or series from the last 5 years off the top of your head that you see as becoming classics in the future? What will film shouldn't be shown in 20, 30 years as an example? Oh, that's a tough question. Yeah, what? I'm going to get up my cheat sheet, my movie rankings of the last couple of years. Um, I can see Roma being taught in like film school. I can see film students looking at that and talking about cinematography. I could totally see that. Um, Honestly, Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse like is kind of perfect. Got a perfect script. I can totally see that being like analyzed and picked apart and whatnot. I would vote for something like The Big Sick, but I mean, it's really hard to say like what films will get that kind of like that reverence, as time passes. That's a really tough question. Last movie I saw in theaters that scared me was Insidious. Actually, oh really? I do love Insidious. RS, have you seen Interstellar? Of course I've seen Interstellar. Come on now. I saw Interstellar day one at the theaters. I ain't missing no Christopher Nolan movie. Uh, and I quite enjoy Interstellar, for the record. Tara, Blade Runner 2049. Yeah, I could see that being. I didn't love Blade Runner 2049, and I really wanted to. There was a couple, and the music was great. It looked great. I typically like the sort of plot that it's dealing with. There was just a couple of things that just weren't quite clicking together for me. Um, Anytime it relied upon like referencing the romance from the first film, it just dropped for me completely because like the romance in the first film I think is terrible and they have no chemistry and I don't care about it. So, uh, but I do think Blade Runner 2049 is better than the first one. I really do. Renegade, The Conjuring is scary, but I didn't see it in theaters. I don't really qualify like horror movies based on scariness because no horror movies scare me. I actually hate when people say, uh, like, oh, what you like horror movies? What's a scary horror film? I'm like, no, none of them scare me. I don't watch horror movies to be scared. Like, I feel like people who don't watch a lot of horror films think that that's what you judge a horror movie on, is how scary is it. And then they sit and watch the horror movie and like almost make an effort not to be scared to try and prove that the movie's not good enough. It's weird. I don't know. You thought Blade Runner 2049 was too long, but you thought it was great otherwise. Cindy. RS, I know you're not the biggest fan of anime, but after we saw Interstellar in theaters, my brother and I joked that would be a great prequel to Mobile Suit Gundam. Okay. Never heard of it, but yeah, fair. Yeah, horror movies don't scare me either. It's a bonus when it happens. Yeah, I mean, some movies are really well done, with like they're kind of tense in certain scenes. But yeah, scary is just not a thing. Like, especially growing up watching horror movies since I was fairly young. Like, they don't have scary in them. Like, the last time I was scared during a horror film, I was probably under 15. Like, because I was young and they hit me a bit harder, I guess. And I don't really miss it. Like, it's fine. Like, I didn't really watch them to get scared necessarily. I watched them because I have a dark mind and I'm on like I find it fascinating, the macabre and the murder and the death and the blood and the splatter and the squishing and splatting and splotting. Oh, people should study Neon Demon. Neon Demon, oh baby. Now that is a looker of a film. Anywho, the space stations at the end of Interstellar are very similar in design to the space stations shown in Gundam. Okay, okay. So it's not necessarily that they went through like a black hole and like had the time difference stuff that was going on in the movie. It was just the space stations. Cindy, Friday the 13th used to scare me, but then I started to like Jason, and then it became more fun. Yeah, I don't think I ever found slasher movies scary. At least not the main ones. Maybe Halloween, because Halloween is genuinely very good and well made. Most of them though, like, because Friday the 13th is not a good movie really. But But some of those sequels are a lot of fun. Renegade, you got pretty scared during the first RE2 stream. Oh, video games are different. Video games are very different from movies. Video games are way more scary because you're controlling the character, because you have to make the choice to go through the door and encounter the scary thing. So they do like lose their effect. Like, I don't find Resident Evil 2 scary to play now, because I understand it. I've played through the whole thing multiple times. I know where everything is. But the first time through a scary game, a horror game, should be scary, and it is. I find video games are way scarier. So. RS, I think Alien is a good scary movie, especially if you don't remember when the jump scares happen. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily call jump scares as being scary though, as much as they're called jump scares. I feel like jump scares are like loud noise, and you jump, but I don't know if I'd call that being scary. I'd call that just being surprising you essentially, and they're often used too much. Although some movies do use them very effectively. And they're like a tension release. It's like the punchline is the jump scare, almost. Alien is fantastic though. That's a 10. That's one of the greats. As is Aliens, which is like the most perfect sequel like ever made. It was a bad call, Ripley. It was a bad call. Let the Right One In. It was very good. It was. Oh, Let the Right One is fantastic. Let the Right One In. Also one of the greats. Let one of the greats in. Let the Right Great One In. I don't know what I'm saying now. That's a great movie though. And me and Tim watched it for streams like maybe a year or 2 years ago now, and I hadn't seen it in a while. Like, it held up. Like, it really held up. I was like, oh man, this is even better than the first time I saw it. And the remake was fine, but it was well made. Matt Reeves is a good director. Had that one really great car scene that was different from the original, but for the most part, it's like I would never want to watch that again because I'd rather watch the original. The original exists and it's better. Aliens is a 10 out of 10. I agree, Tara. They are two 10s. It is the most consistency. Not in terms of style, but it's the most consistency in quality between a first and second movie in the history of filmmaking. They're both 10s. They came out at night, mostly. Assholes and elbows. Arez, I know you don't like Star Wars much, but I have always been fascinated by the idea of xenomorphs infesting the Death Star. That would be a nightmare for the Empire. I'll watch that Star Wars movie. Especially if the aliens get to win. Then I'll be all into that. The old Xenoverse. I do love a good Alien and Predator story, I have to admit. Dan, I mean, as it isn't a horror movie, but if we're talking about being uncomfortable and kind of horrified, what you see, then Requiem for a Dream would be very high on my list. It's very high. What a way of phrasing that, Dan. Yeah, that's an uncomfortable watch. That's a very uncomfortable watch. And I get what you're saying. It's kind of a horror movie in a real world sense, where it's like horrific in what it's doing. That one does sit with you. It does. RS, you would like the book Death Troopers from Renegade. Yeah. So it'd be nice if what's his face, Darren Aronofsky, director of Requiem for a Dream, because I like The Fountain a lot. I enjoyed Pi. I wish he would I don't know, get back to movies like that again. Because Noah, I didn't really like. There was some cool stuff early on, but once it became about Noah and the Ark, it was just kind of eh. And then Mother, I thought was really well made. There's some fantastically directed sequences in that, but I had a lot of problems with the story and just what it was. And ultimately, it feels like a weird kind of well made experiment, but not something that I'd ever want to watch again. And I think I wish Aronofsky could get back to doing some better movies, because I like The Wrestler as well. Actually, The Wrestler was really good. Sheldon, Lost Stars is my favorite Star Wars book I have read. Renegade, one of the most disturbing films I've seen ever was Carla. I have not even heard of Carla. Sheldon, do you like Final Destination? Yes, I mean, I like Final Destination 2 more. But I like the franchise well enough. I think it, like any sort of slasher franchise, which it's not really, but kind of is. I think it has some good sequels. I think it has some bad sequels of varying degrees. I think Final Destination 2 is a blast. I think Final Destination 5 has really bad actors, but is otherwise probably the second best one, just because the kills are the most fun. I think 1 and 3 are okay, but take their tones just a little bit too serious. I think 2 and 5 kind of almost like understand their B movies and just have fun with it. 1 and 3 are still good, but take themselves a bit too seriously. And 4 is probably the weakest one, although it still has its moments, but definitely is the weakest. Final Destination is a great popcorn movie if you just want to have a laugh at campy horror movie, kind of like Jeepers Creepers 2. I was never a big fan of Jeepers Creepers, I have to admit. Never really did much for me. Carl is a true story of the Ken and Barbie killers who raped and murdered a bunch of women in Canada. Oh dear. See, that's... I feel like it's almost cheap when a horror movie's based on real horrific things that happened, because it's like, well, of course it comes out, it's more horrific and terrifying because it's something that actually happened. It's I don't know, like... I'm of two minds of like horror movies basing themselves on real bad things that happened. I don't know. It feels a bit exploitative, I guess. Alright, I like the idea because I could see the Imperial debating whether or not to cut their losses after spending billions of credits on the Death Star. Palpatine would send many troops to their deaths, trying to kill a xenomorphs. Palpatine's behind it all. Yeah. I concur. Dan, the second film in both of these franchises were my favourites. Yes. But what do you mean both? What was the other franchise? Oh, do you mean Star Wars? Failed Decision 2 though. Very good. Great kills in that one. A lot of fun in that movie. The glass pane kill, the wire fence, the logs at the start. Oh man, it's good. That's why I'll never watch the movie about Sharon Tate. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I don't necessarily mind movies about real life horrific things, but making horror movies about them feels kind of icky to me. They're making a movie about Sharon Tate's murder. Sorry, but I did not watch movies where a pregnant woman is murdered. She's also going to factor into the Tarantino movie, but that's not a horror movie. That's, a lot of stuff going on at that time period. The one with the weights on the guy's head in the gym. Oh, that was the fourth one. The fourth one was the weights on the guy's head. The nail gun, I think the nail gun was the third one. It's been a while though. I think the nail gun was the third movie. The real villain in Final Destination was the wind. That's true. Because the first one obviously started with the plane. The second one was the highway, pile up. The third one was the roller coaster. The fourth one was the race cars. That was the Formula One race. And then the fifth one was the bridge incident, which had a hell of a twist ending. Not a great twist ending. I saw the ending coming, actually. I kind of guessed it really early on, but I appreciated it all the same. I got a smile on my face. That I mixed them all up, so I suppose that's why you watch the movies anyway, just for the death scenes. Pretty much. Sheldon slipped on spaghetti. Dear. Oh, the ladder kill's good in Final Destination 2 as well. The ladder kill. How did you guess the ending of 5? It was not. There was something early on in the film that made me notice that it was like so. Hold on, main spoilers for Final Destination 5, right? I just want to say this before I talk about this. I noticed early on something about the time period. Like it felt like it was like not present day. And then again, then just from that, I guessed how it was going to end, because all the Final Destination movies end with kind of like, oh, they think they've got away with it, and then oh no, here's the other thing they're in, the other tragedy. So I guessed what it was going to do. I thought, oh, that was kind of neat, but I saw it coming. Because that came out in like what 2010, 2011, 2012, something like that. So it'd been like a good 13, 14 years since the first one at that point. Cindy, did you know the filmation originated from an unused script for the X-Files? I did not know that. I do know though, however, that there's an episode of The Twilight Zone where it's basically the plot of Final Destination, and when I watched it for the first time like several years ago, I was like, hey, this is just, they ripped this off, the bastards. Right, I like the first one, not a fan of the sequels. Oh, 2's great. 2's fantastic. Dan, I thought the first two Saw movies. You thought the first two of the franchise were good. I find horror movies are always best if they don't become franchised. Most films generally, actually. I mean, I like some horror franchises, and I like a lot of sequels, but yeah, the best ones are just standalone films, typically. Early New 52 Flash, we see Barry and Iris' first date was a disaster because Barry assumes she's only interested so she can help her brother. Wind blew the paper out of her hand. What if it was Dr. Manhattan? I'm not going to identify that with a response. What if every time in Star Wars, when one of the Jedi used their powers to like pull the lightsaber towards them, what if that was what if that was Dr. Manhattan? Tara, I Final Destination movies make me too paranoid. Really? Oh, they're so goofy and like wacky. I don't know. They don't like affect me in any way. Renegade, I listened to that R. Kelly Gotham City song. Who the hell wrote that? City of justice, city of peace, a city of love for every one of us. 'Cause we all need it, can't live without it. I got them city. I have learned the chorus to that song because it's so goddamn stupid. What's happening here? Wait, what's this? You get spam on Patreon now? Is this a thing? Let me go check something. Dan, pretty much every movie franchise I can think of, its best movie within the first two, I would say though. Have you ever seen a film called Donkey Punch? I have never seen Donkey Punch. I think I've heard of Donkey Punch though. Ragged, is the Watchmen movie any good? I don't like it that much, but you know, why would anyone live in Gotham? That's a great question, because it's not a city of peace, it's not a city of love, it's not a city of justice. Well, city of justice once Batman's doing his thing, I suppose, but Sandy, one of these days I will make a video of Pete singing during these streams. Oh, please don't. Please don't. Tara, that being said, the dentist chair scene is the best death in the franchise. Dentist chair death. I don't remember the dentist chair death. I remember the kid going to the dentist in the second movie, but he dies outside afterwards, not in the dentist chair itself. Dad, it's a really weird, and I was young when it came across it. Kind of captured and trapped on a boat in the middle of the sea. Donkey Punch is a real sex movie. I've looked it up. I bet you have, Renegade. I know what your tastes are like. Alright, it's just something I thought about when Rebirth revealed Dr. Manhattan was behind New 52, which went out of its way to make sure heroes didn't have relationships. That's true. I don't know if he went out of his way to not stop the relationships happening. That's just kind of what editorial wanted to do, and Manhattan's been blamed for the New 52 now, but I don't think he specifically wanted to do everything that happened in the New 52. Necessarily, if that makes sense. I would live in Gotham City as long as it's the version from the Adam West series. Tara, that's the one, but the tease of the dentist chair was really good. Okay, sure. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's the big pane of glass that falls on him afterwards. It's good stuff. Sheldon, I would like to go out like that and choke on a plastic fish Why do dentist offices have fishies? I don't know. I have no idea. Why do they have fishies? What is it about fish that apparently sued someone? I don't know. Yeah, a sex bot apparently commented on something on Patreon, but I don't know. Patreon doesn't tell me what the post was though, so it's just somewhere. Oh well, doesn't matter. Move, Pete, move. Yes, yes, renegades. I shall. Mm. Oh dear. Do fish soothe you, Pete? Honestly, not really. I think the fish tank I find more soothing, with the fun, the nice lights and the bubbling and the sound of water. That's soothing. The fish themselves are just kind of like, they're just there to justify why you have a fish tank. Let's be honest. The fish tank's the important part. Who needs the fish? Alright, so when I think of Final Destination, I can't help but think of Death from Family Guy, setting up all the kills and going through a list. No, you said movie when what I said was move. Oh, Donkey Punch is a real sex move. That's what you said. Okay. Again, of course you looked that up. I know what you're like, Renegade. Yeah, isn't Donkey Punch like a really violent sex move, though? I'm sure I heard about that when I was in school. Dan's discussions. I think I remember a really disturbing film called Slither when I was younger too. I watched too many horror films while I was young. Slither's not that disturbing. Slither's a pretty goofy B movie with Nathan Fillion. James Gunn directed that. The scene you recall is a woman being taken over by a slug thing and eating people, or maybe cows or something until she was really fat. But yeah, that's that movie. Yeah. I don't know if I'd call that disturbing. It's really gross, but maybe not disturbing. A guy kills a girl during sex with that move. Okay, it's a very violent sex move then. Okay. Yeah, I remember that going around with a lot of other really stupid, like, violent sex moves that you'd hear about. Well, not, I mean, maybe violent's not the right word for the other ones, but immature, I guess, would say. There's a comedian actually, Jimmy Carr, who used to have one that he would talk about during the during his stand up called The Angry Pirate. where the guy would finish in the girl's eye and then kick her on the shin, so she'd be hopping around with her hand over her eye, and that'd be called The Angry Pirate. I mean, that that always amused me to hear about it. Obviously, I do not approve of anyone doing such a thing, but yes, yeah. Don't Google Donkey Punch. You don't have to do that. Oh dear. What have we done in this stream? What have we fallen into? This is Dan's fault. He brought up Donkey Punch. Oh, that emoticon, Cindy. Dear. Tara, not my fault. Yeah. It usually is, though, which is why you're pointing that out. That in the movie, they handle the donkey punch in a bizarre way, too. It is really nervous, weird guy that ends up doing it. Renegade, it's not my fault for once. Oh, dear. Hey, I'm classy. Oh, dear. I don't even know where to go. Where did we go from here? Where did we go from donkey punching? and angry pirates. Where do we go from here? I don't know. Let's change the subject. Let's do something completely different. Oh dear. Oh, like I'm awake for this conversation. Or not awake enough, I suppose, is what I mean to say. See? See? Can't speak. Can't speak. It's all falling. It's all falling apart. Alright, so if you could pick one DC character to survive, hero, villain, or supporting, and deceased, who would it be and why? Jason Todd. Why Jason Todd? Because then he has to live on his own for the rest of his life and hopefully commit suicide. So, I just want him to be miserable and just have to be alive on his own in an empty world that's full of nothing but zombies. That sounds good. uh, I feel like whenever you ask me a question about which DC character this or that, there's a 50-50 chance my answer is going to be some kind of Jason Todd joke. There's a 50-50 chance of it. It may be like a 10% chance of a Guy Gardner joke. If you have Cartoon Network, you should all be watching DC Superhero Girls. It is a delightful cartoon. I recommend if you enjoy some juvenile antics. Alright, I think Jason could survive over the rest of the Bat family since he would not hesitate to use the guns. That's true. That is true. Sheldon, if you were going to get paid $1 million a year to be a college professor, which course would you teach? Oof. I mean, presumably something that I kind of already know something about. So, film, I guess. Maybe for a more interesting answer, I don't know. Like, what would require the least effort? Like, gym? Do you get gym degrees? I'll just stand in the corner and say, "Keep running, you filthy, lazy, fat people. Keep running." Maybe, climb the rope, you poozer. I don't know. Ethics. I'll teach ethics. Day number 1: how to treat the ginger. How to tame the ginger. How to survive the ginger. I swear. I made like no ginger jokes before I met Connor. And then I met Connor, and then the ginger jokes just coming thick and fast. I don't know why. RS, do you think Deceased will be revealed to be taking place in the Dark Multiverse? Oh, that'd be a fun reveal actually. That'd be a fun thing to do. Is be like, hey, it's in the Dark Multiverse, so it's an Elseworld, but it still kind of relates to things. How to Tame the Ginger sounds like a self-help. A physical education degree is a serious degree. Ah, they just claim that so that it sounds like they're doing something important. Just a lot of moving around. That's all it is. Actually, I'll tell you what I'll teach. I'll teach aspect ratios. Day 1, we're going to talk about 4:3 and the history of the aspect ratio. Redgate, well, we will have to get back to Jackbox soon to get our Ginger and Tim jokes. That is true. That is true. We'll have to play that again soon. RS, to tame a ginger. Use as Asian. Case in point, Wally West and Linja Park. Oh, okay. I was like, where's this joke going? I don't know. This might be a really dodgy joke. I'm like, oh, he's making a Wally West and Linda Park reference. Okay, that's fine. Like, yes. Okay, yes. To tame a ginger. Throw Linda Park at him. Wally West's a nice ginger though, not like Connor. Wally West is an upstanding, delightful ginger whose existence I greatly appreciate and would like to continue existing, as one would say. You could have just said intro to horror films. I could have done, but I thought you wanted some wacky answers, maybe some jokes. So you know, I went for it. What can I say? What has Connor done to you, Pete? Nothing to me specifically. You know I'm joking, Renegade. Dan, ever seen a film called Accepted? It's about a group of rejected students. Accepted, I assume that's maybe actually. Accepted. Who of rejected students who basically revamp an abandoned building and pretend it's a real university. You can teach your own classes there. I've heard of it. I never saw it though. That was a dumb comedy, right? I feel like I remember that being advertised when I was like a teenager. Call yours Taming Gingers 101. Alright, I had a rumor that Kevin Conroy voiced Batman doll that Shazam throws at Savannah in the recent trailer. That would be delightful. That would be a great little cameo, if that's true. Of course, I know you're joking. I'm not completely brain dead. Only half brain dead. Noted. Noted. Justin Long, yeah. What a shock! I never saw that movie. Dumb comedy with Justin Long. I feel like there's a reason why I made a point of not watching that when it came out. Oh man, Captain Marvel and West Coast Avengers are out this week. Oh dear. All the Kelly Thompson books. I look forward to these things. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. My water's almost done. And the bottom bit of the water's never that nice, is it? It's always kind of like, by that point it's warmed up a little bit and half of it's probably your own saliva that's went back in. And Blake Lively was into it in it too, strangely, which is way before she became a star. That happens every so often. I've noticed Evangeline Lilly, from Lost and Ant-Man. Like I've spotted her as an extra in like two different things from just before Lost started, and it's kind of weird. She was an extra in Freddy vs. Jason, and she was like basically an extra in one episode of Smallville, back in like season 1 of Smallville. It's really funny to me that you notice these actors being extras and things. I seem to be just bringing up loads of obscure rubbish films from my memory tonight. Yeah, why not the good films? Why all these weird rubbish ones? That's okay. We specialise in rubbish. See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. Renegade, what are you doing? What's happening? If Proteus was used as a villain for MCU X-Men, do you think they could have Colossus kill him like the comics? I haven't read any of this side of the X-Men stuff, but I mean they could do. I don't see why they couldn't. I mean, the questions is what approach do they take with their X-Men movies? Do we get like a core X-Men team who's on the roster? Like, I mean, is Colossus even there? Like, there's a lot of things. Renegade, I was going through my emojis, just goofing around. Okay. That's the brain dead half of the brain, is it? Or the dead half of the brain, if I say that in proper English. I don't know why I said it in such a weird roundabout way. Who knows? Mm. After I wrap up, I will be watching one more thing. I have a episode of Twilight Zone to watch, and then I will be recording stuff with Connor for a while. We're recording a movie review, as well as the next Star Trek Next Generation review. And there's a Screams After Midnight to go up tonight, which will be up soon after the stream, I think. If I'm, yeah, I think it will be. It's already edited and uploaded and all that. It's ready to go. It's sitting there. Thumbnail's done. It's the whole thing. The dead half of my brain doesn't get enough hugs. Well, there's your problem. You don't want to be hugging a brain typically. You want to prod it and do science experiments on it. Cindy, would you want Disney to make more Alien or Predator movies when they get the properties? That's a hard question, Cindy. I have been burned, like absolutely burned with some of those recent movies, especially Alien. Like part of me is like, I don't know if I want any more. But at the same time, like if they turn around and say, hey, that Neil Blomkamp like Alien sequel, we'll do that. I'll be like, yeah, give me it. Let them do it. Who, by the way, is making a direct sequel to RoboCop right now. That's the thing that's happening. But yeah, I don't know. Trepidatious. I'm trepidatious about that. RS, do you think the first MCU X-Men movie will use the 90s theme at the start of the movie like they used the 60s theme for Homecoming? You mean that one? I mean, maybe. I can see there'll be like a slower version of it where it's like like maybe they'll work it into the main theme somehow. Because they did a really good job with the Spider-Man theme actually in Homecoming. I thought they actually worked that into the thing really well. Dan, what are your guilty pleasure shows and movies that you know are trash but really like anyway, despite knowing they're bad? There's a ton of movies like that, like Chopping Mall and things like that. In terms of TV shows or like more mainstream stuff, I would stick up for the Pacific Rim films, but most people think they're trash, and I really like them, so maybe that, I guess. TV though, what are my guilty pleasures? I definitely have some. Like, stuff like The Pit, stuff that's so bad it's good. There's definitely stuff like that. Maybe I don't have as many as I thought I did. Maybe there's not as many recent examples of guilty pleasures. Maybe anything that I like, I kind of like, Sabrina. Sabrina's not bad though. I mean, it's definitely got some trashy elements. I mean, it's not. Maybe that's as close as I get these days. It's something like Sabrina, but there is good things in Sabrina as well. I actually liked Riverdale when it started, but by the time it hit season 2, it just went off the rails. It got too trashy. I would give you a hug happily. Oh, I know you would, Renegade. That's why I've got a restraining order right here. Where is it? I have a restraining order here. Here. Renegade is not allowed to be in 50 feet worth of my persons. What actually is this? This is a student loan letter from like 2 years ago. Oh, put that over there. A direct sequel to RoboCop, you say? Yes, he's apparently doing like a direct sequel to RoboCop that ignores 2, 3 and anything else. And Neil Blomkamp. So I'm kind of pumped to see what that is. Renegade, I have no guilty pleasures. I am perfect. My restraining order says otherwise. I'm kidding, Renegade. Seeing the emoji with the tears only fuels me. It fuels me. I feed on despair. Dan, mine is Gossip Girl, and it was so bad. I know it's terrible, but I just used to always watch it with my girlfriend, and she got me hooked on it eventually. Uh, I mean, I guess Scream Queens kind of counts, but I think Scream Queens was very self-aware. Like, I think Scream Queens was supposed to be kind of like what it was. Like, it was supposed to be tongue-in-cheek trashy. I never saw Gossip Girl, so I can't comment on Gossip Girl. Uh, I think it's because we review so much. I don't have time for like a trashy thing that I like. I mean, I do watch all those DC shows. Sometimes they fall into like trash, but amusing. I know I'm just having fun. Don't worry, Renegade. You having fun and me, my fear of you having fun is exactly why there's a restraining order with your name on it. Alright, do you think the MCU X-Men films could use the animated series roster Cyclops, Jean Grey, Wolverine, Storm, Gambit, Rogue, Beast, Jubilee, and Professor X since the team is so iconic? Possibly. I mean, personally, I would get rid of Gambit. I think Gambit's a waste of space. And I would put in Kitty for sure. Need to have Kitty. The rest of that list, though, I can get on board with. Yeah, Arrow's been bad for a long time. Yeah, Arrow has been bad. It had one good episode this season. Well, so far, but I'm not feeling hopeful for any more. Flash has been really bad for a while now. Supergirl's a bit more hit and miss. Supergirl still has good episodes. More frequently than the other two, though. Yeah, yep, dropping it halfway through season 5. That's fair. I can't really fault you. We do it out of some dedicated podcast reason. Good thing you still have Discovery as a palate cleanser. Do you know what's funny right now is that because Discovery is the only weekly show other than the DC stuff that's on, it just automatically gets to be like the the best of the week if we still did that in the news, which I'm sure is delightful for you because it just wins by default. There's no competition. Just you wait. Season 3 is going to be on the same time as like Better Call Saul and The Expanse, and it's going to be no. There's a fight now. There's a fight. Discovery might not be the best thing of the week. Renegade, you may know my nickname Peter, but not my real name. That's what you think. Megan. Discovery is perfect, like Renegade is perfect. I agree, Tara. Discovery is exactly as perfect as Renegade is perfect. That is an accurate sentence. They are equal amounts of perfection. And we'll just leave it there. No, I will not be taken back to the Shadow Realm. You'll be banished. Everyone will be banished. Oh, dear. What have these streams become? Dan, still haven't tried Discovery yet. If you ranked it against other Star Trek series, what would you place them from what you've seen? Movies can be included too. Season 1's pretty rough. I mean, Tara's going to fight me on this, but Season 1 I think is a pretty rough season. Season 2 so far, though, has had one bad episode and has been otherwise very, very enjoyable. But I mean, I would rate the original series above it, and I would rate most of the original movies above it. Not 5, probably not 6, and probably not 3. But 1, 2, and 4, I would say I like more than Discovery Season 2. Next Gen's hard to say because we've only seen half of Season 1 so far, so I can't really compare it to Next Gen yet. But Next Gen though has some fun in it though so far. Even the bad episodes have some funny elements, which I'm kind of digging. Renegade is actually perfect though. Hey Cindy. I think I need to take out a second restraining order because you've clearly lost it. You've clearly lost your mind. What's all this bonded chat? Tara, I love the Final Frontier. And Tara's clearly delusional, so what we're discovering here is just how delusional everyone here is. Dear, I love all you guys. Oh. I have a very limited range to throw my bottle around in front of the camera. We have camaraderie, Pete. Learn it. I know the meaning of the word camaraderie. I'm thinking. Things are thinking. Oh, dear. Even though you have restraining orders against this. It's a very mild restraining order. Have you ever got any info into any form of reality television? Unless game shows. I like watching game shows as a kid, but I mean, reality TV, not so much. I've never been into reality TV. But, yeah. I can't wait till we review House on streams, the American one, and tear it to shreds, because I can't wait to see Renegade's thoughts in the comments. Tara, I love that Shatner, who had the body of Winnie the Pooh, wrote a script where he free solo claims El Capitan. That's the body of Winnie the Pooh. There was definitely some ego in that film. There's ego at play with him taking on God, and as you say, rock climbing like a pro, even though he's not in the best shape. Whereas Tyler, he would back us up. Tyler is either asleep or at work. Probably asleep, because he works weird times. I know what he's like. Dan, there was a show on Sci-Fi called Face Off, which I thought was fairly good. It was about special effects artists. Yeah, okay. I mean, that sounds more interesting than most reality TV. Right, if you hate it for genuine reasons, I'll be okay with it. Hey Tim, what did you think of House? That was pretty terrible. Why is that, Tim? I mean, Renegade likes it. I know, right? It's tainted. It's tainted, Tim. It's tainted. What are we going to do? I can't remember if I liked the American House. I saw it a long, long time ago. I saw that in House 2. And I saw House 3 actually much more recently, but it wasn't really House 3. It was just like another horror movie that they called House 3. In fact, in certain countries it wasn't even called House 3. It was just called something else. I can't remember the title was now. Oh, the horror show, that was it. It was called The Horror Show. You're right. See, you're clearly a House fanatic, because you knew what I was talking about. No one else in the chat was going, oh, that one's called The Horror Show. Which actor-director do you find to be hugely overrated? Tim Burton, for sure. Who else does nothing for me? Who? There's definitely actors that. Do you know what? I like this actor, I do, but I do think Leonardo DiCaprio is a bit overrated. I don't think he's as good as everyone goes on about. Oh, Del Toro, yes, Guillermo del Toro. I don't like his films that much. That's a good one, Tara. I think Leo's solid and likable, but I felt like his award for what was that called with Tom Hardy? The Revenant. I don't think his performance in The Revenant was really deserving of an award. It felt like he was just doing the most extreme stuff possible, and I think Tom Hardy was better in that movie than he was. Johnny Depp has to go hand in hand with Tim Burton, surely. Oh yeah, I don't like Johnny Depp at all. I don't know if Johnny Depp's overrated anymore though. I feel like everyone kind of shits on him now. But yeah, I don't like Tim Burton or Johnny Depp. Never liked Tim Burton. Del Toro, I like Del Toro as a person. Like, I feel like I would probably get on quite well with Del Toro. I could probably talk to that guy about movies forever. But I don't really like most of his movies that much. I like Pacific Rim, and I like Mimic, which are the two that probably most Del Toro fans think are the weakest. Pan's Labyrinth was okay. Shape of Water I didn't like. I watched Chronos. Wasn't really that into that. Please watch Ed Wood. Everyone always says watch Ed Wood. Everyone's like, watch Ed Wood. And I'm like, you're trying to tell me to watch a Tim Burton movie, and I get that it might be the best Tim Burton movie. I get that it might be. Did you see his remake of Don't Be Afraid of the Dark? He didn't direct that, he only produced it, but I didn't know. I can't really blame you for thinking that though, because all the posters did say Guillermo del Toro presents Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Oh, do you know what movie I hated from Del Toro? Crimson Peak was absolute garbage. I cannot, no, I will not listen to anything else. That movie was terrible. What the hell? Yeah, I'm glad you agree, Cindy. I really am glad. I hated that one. That's Renegade. Dan, I saw this weird film the other day on TV with John Travolta. Apparently, it was something he funded himself and was based on Ron Hubbard's books, but it was terrible. Yeah, John Travolta's not done anything relevant in a while. A goddamn while. He was a blue alien and there were man creatures and all kind of... Wait, are you talking about Battlefield Earth? Are we talking about... Battlefield Earth's a pretty well-known bad movie. I've never seen it, actually. Was Forrest Whitaker in it as well? I believe he's in that too. It was shocking. Never saw Battlefield Earth. I've heard of its many accolades and its reputation. I am aware of it. Should do a movie talk on it. Connor would hate it. I'm pretty sure I would hate it. I might suffer as well just to make Connor miserable. I mean, there's a temptation to do that. But you know. And hey, we got some new patrons the last day or two. We're now only $95 away from having to do another Uwe Boll film. I just want to point that out. The countdown to the second Uwe Boll review is on, and it's upsetting. Connor watched Shadow. He has suffered enough. He has never suffered enough. Just pretend that you watched it and agree with everything Connor says. I don't think Connor would ever review anything with me again if I made him watch a bad movie and didn't and just pretended I did, and then he found out. He would be mad at me. He'd be so mad at me. Renegade, which Boll film? Oh, we don't know. Last time we did a vote on Patreon for which one, so we'll probably do the same again. Yes, if no one's seen it, we did a review of Blood Rain in the middle of last year when we hit one of our goals on Patreon, and yeah, it's probably the most negative we've ever been in a film ever. Like ever. It was something else. I can't quite comment on how bad it was. I would vote for House of the Dead. It's hilarious how bad it is. Do I trust you though? That's the question. Yeah, I don't know what'll even been in the vote. We'll decide when we hit the goal. What 4 movies tickle our fancy to put in the vote? Oh dear. The problem is he's made so many goddamn movies actually in such a short period of time that we could actually pick 4 different films, like for like 4 different votes probably before we start having to overlap and reuse movies again. There's a part where you can see the dolly track. Yeah. And I thought it was bad when you see the boom mic peeking in. Oh, and we have hit the 2-hour mark, which does mean it is time to wrap up. I'm afraid. I know people have been having fun. I've been enjoying chatting to you guys. But it is time to say goodbye and do my plug things. Tara, congrats on Patreon. Are we getting a Firefly review? You will be indeed. Basically, the rule is that once everyone's been charged again, so the actual new amounts went through, we'll start looking at the goal that was hit. So yeah, we'll be talking about doing Firefly and Serenity next month. So and we'll start squeezing that in when we can. So I'm looking forward to it for all the best. Dan, what is the worst movie you have ever seen? I mean, I may as well ask this since I am talking to you about all the worst ones in my mind. The worst movie I have ever seen. Blood Rain might be it. Me and Tim watched a film called It Watches, which is probably right next to it. But Blood Rain might take the cake for worst ever because it gave me a headache how it was shot, which even other bad movies have not done that. Like, as bad as like other movies where there's bad acting and terrible scripts and all these other things, the actual visuals of Blood Rain gave me a headache on top of all the bad acting and script and everything else that was nonsensical. So that could be up there. In terms of what's made me the angriest, though, I mean, honestly, Batman v Superman. I hated that. I left the theater angry. But yeah, so that's the stream, guys. So thank you very much. The Hugh Jackman and Les Miserables is Les Miserables. I can't do it. I can't do the French pronunciation. Is the worst movie I've ever seen. I've never seen that because I don't like musicals. But yeah, the latest stream should be tomorrow night, I think. Because I think me and Connor are doing the Drunk Arrow and Flash on Wednesday. So I should hopefully see you tomorrow night for the late stream. Regular stream is the same time next week. And I'll see you guys then. Yeah, usual things. Go to Patreon, patreon.com/MildFuzzTV if you want to support the show and the channel and everything we do here. Super chats at the bottom for one-time donations. Otherwise, look forward to other content coming. So thank you very much, guys, for joining me. I appreciate it. I love you guys loads. I will see you guys next time. It has been a pleasure. Keep watching TV and movies and shiz. And so even to people who've been watching and not really chatting much, I love you guys too. I appreciate everyone who supports us. So thank you very much, guys. I will see you next time. Goodbye.